everyone, and welcome to ABG Fireside Chats. My name is Nikola Kananowski, and I'm an equity research analyst here at ABG. With us today, we have the CEO of Arctic Paper, Michal Jarczyński.
Hello.
Welcome. I think if we could just start off, could you just briefly walk us through, what does Arctic Paper do, what's the business model, and what is your view of the business?
Yes, indeed. Arctic is an industrial company with focusing on the forest-based sector. It means that we are the part of this new bioeconomy. We have production asset in Sweden and Poland. It's roughly 450,000 tons of pulp capacity in Sweden, 2 pulp mills, and 2 paper mills in Sweden, 1 in Poland. Altogether 700,000 tons of paper only.
Yeah, and I think the market has been quite challenging recently, but you have proven your resilience. How do you plan on maintaining, developing, or even advancing your position in the market?
Some years ago, we discussed that we have to change our strategy, and beside of 2 models, 2 segments only, means pulp and paper, we also would like to develop a new, more dynamic, more profitable, and growing sector. And it was the reason that 2021 we decided to establish a new strategy, so-called 4P, because the strategy consists of 4 elements: pulp, paper, packaging, and the power. And we would like to use this strong results, strong performance, and strong financial resources delivered by 2 existing segments, means pulp and paper, to be able to develop fast and rapid on our new sectors, means to be more active in the packaging and as well to be energy producer. We would like to be also the energy producer not only for our production asset, but as well to sell energy to the third parties, because based on our analysis, it seems that for the long term, we'll be able to make a high profitability margin for energy production in Poland and in Sweden.
Yeah, and I think if we look at the competitive advantage that you've had historically, what would you say is the reason why you can be so competitive, and how do you, I think you alluded to it, plan on keeping it competitive still?
I think that there are 2 key elements. First of all, we are actor on the well-defined market. Even European paper segment is roughly 6-7 million tons. We already defined it that we would like to be player regarding well-defined segment, means book paper and offset paper for the specific and digital application, digital printing. And the same regarding the pulp. Some years ago, we decided that it would be sense to focus regarding the growing segments, and our production in Vattenås and Vallvik mills are dedicated mainly to specialty application, like filters, like packaging, like electronic business and special application. Paper and tissue business is less than 5% together.
Yeah, and I think if you were to diversify your customer base, both in terms of end customer and geography, would you do it, and if so, how?
Europe is our market. In Europe, we have a production facilities, and as well, we would like to be main player in Europe. And this is the reason that majority of our sales from the pulp and as well from the paper is dedicated for Europe. It means that we are more resilient and much stronger, be able to fix our logistic problem. We are more resilient regarding the global circumstances regarding the maritime transport. And also it's quite easy for us to have a direct contact with customers. Business is a relation between partners, not only regarding the companies, but regarding the people which are managing and responsible for operations. And due to the fact it's much better for us to have not a daily, but quite frequent contact with our clients, to have a better understanding what's going on, what are their expectations, and to meet their expectations. That is the reason that we would like to continue with focus in Europe as our main market. And in fact, to sell close to the chimney is always cheaper compared to sell globally few hundred or few thousand kilometers away.
Yeah, I think that does sound very rational, I must say. And at the moment we're seeing perhaps a more positive development in the market in terms of more demand and pricing. When you have positive momentum like that, how do you look to leverage that positive momentum into something that can be more sustainable?
The last year was quite interesting. We had a pandemic 2020, 2021. Then suddenly in 2022 it was recovery for the demand. We were able to sell as much as possible. The demand for our product was rise by at least 20%. And then suddenly in 2023 and it was significant drop of the demand, roughly 30% for all grades. Now, since end of last year, we see some kind of recovery. The demand for both products, means pulp and paper, is growing. And I'm quite convinced that this year, 2024 and 2025, will be much better for us. Another dimension is that we are well established regarding our competitors. During the last years, we put a lot of projects, a lot of money to invest to make our position much stronger compared to our competitors. And looking for the current situation, I think that our pulp and paper mills are very competitive. And I'm quite convinced that also we'll be able to maximize our capacity in coming years. And also, it's quite interesting to see the progress regarding profitability, because 2022 was the best year in history due to higher demand and due to higher prices. But even last year, when there was significant drop regarding the demand, we were able to maintain our margin. We were able to maintain our profit. And even last year, result was roughly 100 million euros EBITDA, which was lower compared to the last 2022, but it was second best year in our history. And this also gives us a good chance to focus regarding the future. We have a very strong balance sheet. In fact, we have no debt. We are we are more resilient regarding the fluctuation of the capital market, regarding the interest rate, and we are able and strong enough to execute our investment plans.
Yeah, I think that certainly puts it into perspective that 22 was a fantastic year, but 23 was still a great year. If you look at relative terms, relative to history, I think that's definitely some good perspective. You mentioned the 4P strategy earlier. Could you walk us through the importance of one of the P's, the pillars in the strategy, which is power, the importance of it and how you plan to fully leverage such a segment?
Pulp and paper production is quite energy-intensive business. It means that if you would like to keep our position on the market, if your mills have to be competitive compared to other mills, it means that you have to produce energy as much as possible locally, because we are less dependent regarding the fluctuation. And already in 2020, we decided to put more money to increase on-site energy and the steam production. We have a hydro turbine project in Munkedal. A few months ago, we started a biomass project in Grycksbo. We have a waste incineration project in Munkedal. We already started to build some power generation based on the solar panels. In 2 months perspective, we will complete a 17 megawatts installation in Poland, and also several other projects are well established and quite interesting phase. Our aim is to be, first of all, carbon neutral by 2030, and secondly, to produce at least 90% energy locally. Today, 2023 was roughly 75% of energy produced locally, but there is some space to improve.
Yeah, excellent. I think that's a very clear summary. And I think if we just look historically a little bit, at least on Q4, if we delve into the latest quarter, could you help us understand the development of the capacity utilization? Would you say that it was more front-ended in the beginning of the quarter, or back-end loaded perhaps towards the end of the quarter?
Generally, 2023 was the year with significant drop of the demand. It was partly connected to a boom for the pulp and paper product in 2022, because on that time, when the delivery time was quite long, lead time was sometimes even 2-3 months, it was significant rise by space material in the value chain. It means that for the beginning of 2023, a lot of our clients has to focus regarding reduction of their capacities versus to buy a new product. By looking for the end of last year, especially November and October, partly December as well, we noticed it was some kind of recovery, not only in Scandinavia, but as well in France and Germany. Germany is by far our biggest market, and we are one of the biggest players in Germany, and all turbulence in Germany could influence us negatively, but as well due to the fact we have a quite healthy spread across Europe. We are able to use some benefits regarding the French economy, East Europe economy, and as well UK economy. That's looking for the beginning of this year, I see significant improvement regarding the capacity utilization, but it's quite important to emphasize that our focus is more regarding the maintaining margin, defend the margin, versus to maximize the capacity. It's always difficult to find a healthy balance between the capacity utilization and the profitability. But 2022 was the year to prove that we were smart enough to find this optimal point.
Yep, I think that's definitely well said. I think if we focus a little bit on cost, you've focused on cost optimization in the last quarter. Could you tell us a little bit, in terms of numbers, how much cost savings you did realize and how much you would expect in the coming quarters, for example?
Yes, the costs, we are, let's say, a raw material manufacturing company. It means that we are so dependent regarding the cost of purchase materials. And it seems that always we are trying to find a cheaper material. We are always looking for the alternative suppliers. And as well, we are trying to be more efficient because each single percentage of saving on the production process, from our perspective, from this close to 1 million tons total capacity, gives us a big money. And looking for the last year performance, we see that it was quite challenging task for us, but we deliver what we promise. And also, I am pretty sure that the project which already started, as mentioned, this biomass project in Grycksbo, give us a lot of benefits, a lot of synergies, and reduce our costs. Beside of the costs, we also would like to increase our revenues. And this biomass project in Grycksbo give us a chance to produce a new product line, biopellets, and it will be roughly up to 100,000 tons of pellets per year.
Yeah, and finally on investments, I think in Q4 you stated that the investment in a new production unit for molded fiber trays in Kostrzyn is delayed. How should we think about the effects of this? Can we expect more capex going forward instead?
No, this is a small delay due to problems regarding the suppliers. It's rather that to have a on-time delivery from Asia is quite complicated, not only for us, but generally for the economy. And I'm quite convinced that the project is quite according to plan and will be started in Q3 this year and with the full operation scale next year. And it's also quite important that we have resources to finance this project. Our aim is to finance the capex maximum by 40% equity and 60% by external finance. And our aim is also not to exceed EBITDA 3.5. Today is 0 because we have a very good cash flow situation, but also it proved that we have a space to execute our quite ambitious target because we would like to double our EBITDA by 2030. And the capex, which we would like to invest to make our company stronger, will be roughly 300 million euros for the next 7 years. But we also convinced that we'll be able to fulfill obligation and expectation from our investor perspective. Last year we paid a dividend was 13%. This year will be close to 7-8%. But it seems that it's all according our policy. And we would like to pay an offer as a shareholder dividend between 20 to 40% of the profit. Last year it was 25% of the profit. This year it will be 27% of the profit.
And I think if we look back at the preliminary financial outcome in 23, what would you say are the main changes in the market that you expect to see in 24 if we were to wrap it up?
It's a challenging year, and I think that some information, some reduction of the capacity is expected. It's quite interesting because during the last 7 years, without increasing our capacity, our market shares, even on this declining period, was right from 4% close to 7% due to closure of the capacities. But it also proves that our aim to be more competitive compared to our competitors is a proper strategy. And we are able to deliver according to plan and also to have a quite interesting results. The last year, EBITDA margin was 13%, 2022 was 20%, amazing, but it was significant more compared to average for the last 7 years. Normally, the EBITDA was between 10 to 12%.
Yeah, and I think if we were to conclude, could you perhaps tell us what you most look forward to in 2024, perhaps what challenges you see, but also what sorts of opportunities that you would like to pursue?
Challenges for 2024 is to have a healthy balance between the maintaining profit, defending contribution, defending profitability versus maximizing capacity. And I think that based on this quite interesting start of the year, means February, January, I'm quite convinced that 2024 will be also interesting year from the financial perspective. I'm convinced that investor will be satisfied what we will deliver for entire 2024.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Michal, and thank you to everybody else for listening in.
Thank you very much.